question. One question. Kelly. Who am I? The MC.
Good morning, beautiful, beautiful spirits, pugilist fanatics. It's Myron Magnus, and this is another segment of Boxing Logics United. You know, a serious issue going on in boxing right now is pacification. Pacification, which means to quell the anger or excitement of, to appease. And in the manner or in reference to a boxer, to rid him of his ambition to separate himself from the pack. Today we have the premier boxing champions. But too often we do not see them premiering their abilities, their real, true talents, their drive. We don't see their true hunger on premiere. We hear them talk it, but we rarely see them showcase it, besides a handful. And that is because they are being pacified. Yes, it should be the pacified boxing champions. Why I say that? Because they're given too much too soon. Quite a few of them. Why I say that? Because they're not being held to the fire by the words they are being said. They're not being held to the fire by those who's managing them. They're not being held to the fire, I should say, by those they are paying, which is various boxing communities and groups. They're being pacified. They are being given little by little, very easily. So it's totally raping them from their desire to be truly great. Not great just by perception, but truly great. You have Jamal Charlo, a pacified boxing champion. Was an interim WBC, then all of a sudden boosted up to interim WBA or WBC belt holder, boost up the full regular belt holder once Canelo Alvarez was stripped of the title. He didn't earn it. It was given to him. That is an example of being pacified. Gervonta Davis being fed B-level, C-level fighter after B-level, C-level fighter. And he's a champion. A two-time champion at that. That is an example of being pacified. Deontay Wilder, a WBC champion for at least 4 or 5 years, has not once been forced to unify belts. Out of all 9, I believe 9, correct me if I'm mistaken, 9 or 8 title defenses, he's only fought truly one top 10 opponent, which is Luis Ortiz. Tyson Fury was given a, I guess, lineal spot back into the top 10 in the WBC rankings just because who he was, but not because Tyson Fury earned it. There's so many more down the list. Leo Santa Cruz, a pacified boxing champion. He's been ducking Gary Russell Jr. since he had the belt. Errol Spence Jr., a pacified boxing champion. And that was only proven until he fought a true title defense against a true champion in Shawn Porter. And many people think Shawn Porter won that fight. Many people think Errol Spence Jr. was exposed. Many people feel Errol Spence Jr. needs to improve quite a bit. Many people think Errol Spence Jr. is ducking Terrence Crawford. Now, pacifying is a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous thing. It's a more sensitive version of emasculation, especially when you're dealing with men. The PBC has the largest amount of pacified fighters that it makes no sense whatsoever. Understand this. The mainstream media can be just as harsh as the internet, as social media. If you do not live up to your billing, due to the fact you have not lived up to the expectations of millions and millions and billions of fans who've watched boxing for the last 2-3 generations. If you called a pacified boxer, if you're not being considered one of the greatest of your generation and you have a belt, you are pacified. If you're not being made to fight unification matches, if you're not being forced to go for undisputed, and yet enticed to move up another weight class after you've won your belt by way of default, and you're moving up to another weight class just to escape other fighters that you feel threatened by, that you don't feel confident you can beat, or your handlers don't feel confident that you can beat, then you're being pacified. All of you trying to move different weights, you think being pound for pound is having multiple belts in multiple divisions means you're good. It don't. It's another way of running from opposition that you fear. And if your handlers are promoting this, then you are being pacified. This is what's happening to a lot of our fighters today. The entitlement mentality is stripping boxing of great fights. Truly great fights. Now, everybody was thinking Shawn Porter, Errol Spence Jr. was the fight of the year when it happened. But so quickly, that fight of the year was trumped by Gennady Golovkin and Sergey Devianchenko. Two fighters that aren't even in the PBC, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. We know Triple G isn't, but Devianchenko, I'm not sure. I think he's dazzling, I don't know. But the point of the matter is, too many of you fighters in the PBC are living in a bubble. You're being pacified. So when criticism, which you call hate today, when constructive criticism or instructive criticism comes your way, which you call hate today, when honest observations come your way, which you guys call hate today, and you can't handle it, you duck and dodge from the real questions, and if your handlers are helping you do this, you are being pacified. From the rooter to the tutor. Only fighters that go out to fight champions. When champions fight champions, that is an example of a fighter not being pacified. Mr. Gary Russell Jr., Anthony Joshua, and whoever goes around here collecting belts, fighters, champions, looking to only fight other champions for other belts. That is an example of a fighter that still has his own heart beating in him. That is an example of a fighter that still has his fire. That is the example of a fighter that does not have the entitlement mentality. Because if he did have the entitlement mentality, he would not be going for undisputed. He would be trying to run, jump weight classes, upper, under, whatever he can do from facing the true competition that is awaiting him. So understand, if you're not trying to be undisputed, if you're not being pushed to be undisputed by your handlers, us true boxing fans, diehards, NBBC, Counterpunch, Casual Boxing Talk, know that you are a pacified boxing champion, which means you are a paper champion, a paper boxing champion. And that's a damn shame, to be a grown man, to be emasculated in such a manner, especially if you call yourself a fighter. This is Myra Magnus in another segment of Boxing Logics United. One love.